start the press conference right now, and I want to thank everybody for being here today, and particularly want to thank our media friends for covering this, because we do believe this is one of the major issues affecting not only the business community in South Carolina, but the safety of all of our citizens that live and work in the communities that we live in. So for us, thank y'all for being here, and thank you for thinking this is important enough to be here. My name is Otis Wall, and I'm President and CEO of the Great Election Chamber of Commerce. And what I'd like to do today is just give you a little bit of background on why we're hosting this event and who's participating. I'm actually the chair of the Bid State Coalition, and have been with the State Chamber and Chambers of Commerce for about 16 years. And over those 16 years, the number one issue that has faced the business community is improving the infrastructure of our road system. We have a unique opportunity this year to be able to step up and fund our infrastructure system to the level that we've needed to step up for at least the last 10 or 15 years, to be able to make our roads safe, to be able to improve the pavement, to be able to get our goods and services to our retail businesses as well as to our manufacturing sites across the state, but more so than anything else, put a great foot forward for visitors that come to our state and make it easy for them to get into our state. Most of you know that the House of Representatives and Representative Michael Caskey will address this issue in just a few minutes, has passed legislation, and legislation is lingering in the Senate right now. They debated all week around the different issues, but what's happening right now is they're really losing their focus on what's the important issue, which is roads. A lot of red herrings are being thrown into debate, whether it's income tax reform, reform in DOT, looking at how monies go back into the counties, when really all that the individual citizens of South Carolina and the business community wants the General Assembly to do is pass a roads bill that provides recurring funding to improve our road system. At the present time, there are 4 other press conferences going across the state, from Greenville to Rock Hill to Charleston to Myrtle Beach, and the business communities and other business associations are talking about the number one issue, and that's infrastructure improvements, and asking their local public policymakers to move this bill forward so that we can have a bill this year, not wait through another legislative year without doing something, but put recurring money to the tune of $600 to $800 million into our road system. We really don't care how they provide that funding. All we know is we're expressing the need. DOT has done the studies that has expressed the needs, and the money needs to be there, and it needs to be there quickly. Every year we wait, our roads deteriorate that much more. Behind me today, we've got four representatives for 4 different groups. We've got Mike Taylor with One Voice, who is representing all the chairs of the local chambers for at least the last 20 years. It's here to talk from the local chamber standpoint. We got Carl Blackstone, who is going to be talking from the Mid-State Coalition standpoint. We've got Steve McDougall, our mayor here in Lexington, is going to talk about why it's important to local governments and how our legislative delegations are advocating their position and really putting the burden back on our local governments to fund infrastructure in our local communities. And last, to kind of close it up, we've got Representative Michael Caskey, who has really stepped up in his new role as a House member to talk about how important roads are and had a big influence in how the current bill has been drafted in the House, and is working diligently to help our delegation get there on this issue. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to Mike Taylor, who is with the Batesburg Leesville Chamber, but is representing One Voice today. Mike.
Thank you. I thought when I talked to Otis earlier that I might be the last person, so I thought y'all were going to hear statistics and so forth before I got up. So I'm taking a little bit more simplistic type view than what Otis was talking about on the other. Back in the 60s, when you entered our state of South Carolina, you had a welcome to South Carolina sign. On the left, it said, "Welcome to the best state and the best roads in the nation," on the right. Those signs were taken down some time ago, and I don't know that we'll ever have the opportunity to put them back up, and that's a shame. My father was a commissioner back in the 60s, and I certainly loved him, respected him, treasured his ability as a businessman, treasured his thought process, and been able to look at tough decisions and make a tough decision on it. And so I thought about that, thought about our representative that we have now, Commissioner Hardy. I don't think things have changed from the 60s to the present in that regard. So what is it? It has to be resources. It has to be the funding that's necessary. I don't know what the mileage was back in the 60s as far as highway miles that we had in the state, but I know in October of 2014 that we were regarded as the fourth largest state maintained highway system in the nation. So we have that going on at the same time. Back in the 60s, when I was a younger man, we had a TV and you might pick up 5 channels. You had a radio that you turned and so forth, and everything was free. Times have changed now. You got satellite, cable TV that costs, you got XM radio and so forth. So a consumer has tough decisions to make. If you get a hole in your roof and your insurance doesn't cover that, you've got some decisions to make. You don't have extra income coming in, so you got to decide where that money's going to come from to take care of that roof that has a hole in it. If you don't, your roof's going to decay, you're going to get black mold, and so forth and so on. So you look at what you have, and you look at your TV and your package that you have, you look at your radio, your tickets at the ball game, you're going to say, where's that money going to come from? It's tough. You don't want to take it from the package in the television, because if you get rid of the Hallmark channel, you might lose your wife. So you got tough decisions to make. I understand what's going on in the legislature. I understand the pulls that they have. But someone has to have the courage to make the decisions to improve our road system. I was at a meeting on Wednesday in School District 5, and Boeing was there, and they were talking about what they are doing down in Charleston and how that's going to bring suppliers and so forth and so on, encouraging our students to apply themselves to get these great jobs that we have and going to be coming in. We've heard statistics in the past of how our state's going to grow and so forth. These things have to be addressed. I'm going to go to one last little story, and I'm sorry with my little stories. The point I'm going to make here is we have, at our house, we have French doors. And we have this red bird that sits out on a plant, and all day long he was going up, down, pecking at the door, scratching, fluttering, and so forth, scratching on the door. About drove us crazy when we were in the home on the weekend. So my wife decided to put up a garbage bag and thing so he wouldn't be able to see himself. Well, that was fine. Until you went around the next day to your car, and the mirror had been pegged, and he left quite a bit of other evidence that he had been there. My point being is that we aren't going away. We're going to be here until the roads are fixed. Thank you very much.
Hey, good morning. My name's Carl Blackstone. I'm president and CEO of the Columbia Chamber, as well as I represent the chair of the Mid-State Coalition, which is a group of 14 chambers here in the Midlands and the Greater Midlands of South Carolina. This road issue is nothing news for anyone here today, in the sense that we've been talking about it for about 15 years. We've had a huge growth population in the state. We've got the #1 port in the southeast, here down the road in Charleston. We owe it to ourselves, the businesses of this area, to invest in our infrastructure. We spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in our port infrastructure, but if we don't have the resources and the infrastructure to get the goods and services to our port, then what good is it? So it's time for our General Assembly. We've got 9 days left in this session. It is time for the Senate to act. We ask them respectfully to please take as long as it takes in the next 9 days to get a bill passed. It is time. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I'm Mayor Steve McDougall for the town of Lexington, and thank y'all for being with us today. What I'm here to say is we are encouraged about the Senate and where they are with this bill. We understand there was some forward progress with the bill, but we would simply ask that they do something this year. We have debated this bill for 3 years now, They always talk about DOT needing to be reformed. If they're working 3 years on a bill, maybe the Senate needs to be reformed, because we are not moving forward on this bill, and we have to move forward on something substantial for our cities and towns. I can tell you, as I stand here this morning, the town of Lexington is currently working on $30 million worth of road improvements in the town of Lexington, and that is not a core function of municipal government. That is not something we should be doing. But we have taken the lead, stood up, and said we're going to do something for our town and make it better. We hope the Senate will listen to that and figure out that is not something we should be doing and fund a roads bill. Now is the time for the Senate to respond. It is time for progress. It is time for action. And it is time for leaders to lead. We encourage it, we expect it, and we deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Mike Akaski. I am a newly elected representative from Lexington County, and it's been my great pleasure to serve in the House over these last 4 months. And in that time, I have found that there is one thing that seems to be on the minds of those across the hall in the Senate, and that is their own political futures and their careers. They have put the lives of South Carolinians in jeopardy by continuing to play political games. And the simple truth is, South Carolina needs a roads bill. I believe that conservatism means telling people honestly and truthfully what the situation really is. Not what we want it to be, but what we need as a people, as South Carolinians. The House, I've been very proud to work with Speaker Jay Lucas and Majority Leader Gary Simmel on this bill. When I decided to run for office about a year ago, one of the things that I heard almost universally was, we've got to have roads, and we want to make sure that it goes only to roads and any new revenue. We've done that in the House. We've passed a bill that is responsible, that's comprehensive, that looks long-term at what the challenges to our state are going to be, what our infrastructure needs are going to be, and how we can meet that. It's time for people to reach out to their senators, to tell them very directly that it matters to them, that it matters that they pass a bill, it matters that they stop playing political games, it matters that they do what is right. I don't like having to be here. I don't like having to pass a gas tax. I don't like the situation on our roads. But when I ran for office, I told people that I would tell them the truth. And the truth is this: we've got to have a roads bill. We've got to have it now, because every day that we delay, more lives are at risk, the roads continue to deteriorate, the long-term costs continue to escalate. We've got to have a roads bill, and we need the Senate to act as the House has done so we can move forward. I thank you all for your dedication to this issue, your concern for the community, and what you do each and every day. But now I challenge you to do one more thing, that is reach out to your senators and let them know that you will remember what they do in these next 9 days. And if they choose to put their own political careers ahead of the lives of South Carolinians, that you will remember that. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for your time.
That would end the press conference, except for questions that the press may have. Does anybody have any questions of the group? Rod, you're looking around like you want to ask a question. Are you good?
So it's just usually not the first one to jump at it, so it's usually ready to go.
Yeah. Good.
Not just one community, the entire state. So, I mean, especially representing the local community here,
Yeah.
obviously it's across the state, which is interesting too. So,
And we thought it was important enough to send that message. And I will tell you that there will be mailers going out into swing senators' districts, asking their voters to give them a call and encourage them to vote for a bill. We want to make sure that out-of-state interests, particularly Americans for Prosperity, that are doing a lot of robocalls into our state about not funding our roads through a tax. Once again, we're not saying how to do it. All we know is we need $600 to $800 million worth of recurring dollars. But we're trying to get out there and tell our state senators that we've got their back when it comes to vote. It's quote Speaker Jay Lucas, pass the damn bill. Let's get it done and let's move on, and let's get get a roads bill, and let's put this off and let's go work on the things that are meaningful. Clyde?
Odie, do we have a bill number and do we have phone numbers to contact our?
I don't recall if I had 39. I'll have to get it to you.
I'll get it's like 3586 or 39 something. Clyde will get it out to you, and what we'll do is we'll get our senators and House members' numbers there. But the two we're focusing on, and we want to applaud Senator Ronnie Cromer and Senator Nikki Setzler. They've stepped up and voted accordingly. The two that are still kind of out there in the wings that we want to encourage to look at a supporting bill would be Senator Massey and Senator Shealy.
I will call them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And this is
Appreciate
the
it.
third time in the past week that I've heard somebody either in local government or state government bring up the Americans for Prosperity group or whatever.
I'm sure it's all in it, Rob. I mean, the phone calls there. I mean, it's happened for the last 2 or 3 years. If you look at Senator Davis from Beaufort and all, I mean, he's tied in with them, and really it's all, he's making the calls when they go in and things of that sort. So I just, you know, there's pockets of resistance across the state, a little bit down there and a little bit up into upstate. But we really need about 6 or 7 swing votes to get us to the 2/3 vote that we need to override a veto. Micah didn't mention it, but there were over 90 votes in the House to support this bill. We need 31 votes in the Senate to be able to override a gubernatorial veto, and that's what we're working on right now.
Oh, you know one thing, between here and my office in West Columbia, I can pick which station and get 10 cents a gallon cheaper. So this thing about the gas tax ain't gonna affect anybody. You know, it'll help us, because I'll spend more money getting my cars fully in line and tires than it would cost me to get 20 cents a gallon.
Well, I think that I usually have a prop here, and I have a Starbucks cup, coffee cup there, and you know, and that's what it's gonna cost you a month. A Starbucks cup of coffee, not a week, not a day, a month, to be able to save $1,300 of repairs on your automobiles every week. And then the other thing too is, if you look at gas prices, it went from $1.99 to $2.12 in 3 days last weekend. 2 cents per year phased in over 10 or 12 years is inconsequential.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's a great point, because one of the things that opponents of a better roads network in South Carolina have done in the pursuit of their own political self-interest is to use a lot of fuzzy math. They will cite outlier budget years. They will confuse people. But the truth of the matter is very simple. We have the nation's 4th largest state-maintained road network. We are 49th in roads funding. That never works. If you have the 4th largest roads network and the 49th largest roads funding, something has got to give. And to those who say we've got to reform DOT, I say we've done that in the House bill. We have provided a mechanism for accountability where the governor directly appoints that commission. People, voters, can hold the governor accountable if they don't deliver on that. And by the way, I will add that right now, South Carolina recently, a group called the Reason Foundation assessed the cost efficiency of DOT. We're 4th in the nation in that. So when you look at the balance of the problem, we've got a cost-effective department. It can get better. We've got to get better. With the right leadership at the top, we'll be better. But we cannot pretend that this is a problem that's going to go away solely because we want to put our heads in our sands to propel our own political careers. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to tell them the truth. Our roads network in South Carolina is underfunded, and the South Carolina Senate has an opportunity to change and improve the lives of South Carolinians in Lexington County and Richland County, and from Pickens to Horry and in between. So that's a great question, Mr. McGee, and I thank you for it.
Anything else, Rob?
Mr. Cassidy, it wasn't too long ago that a spokesperson, I believe, for DOT came out and talked about how deadly the roads are, and a lot of times we get caught up in drunk driving and other issues and speeding and whatnot that contribute to death. But I can't remember her name off my head right now, but she was talking about how the road conditions themselves contribute to deaths on these highways. Is there anything you can speak to that? Maybe some testimony you've heard from other groups?
There's no doubt about it. The state of our roads right now is leading to injury and death in South Carolina. Some 934 deaths, if I'm not mistaken, last year were attributable to road accidents. That's unacceptable. We have to do better. The way we do better is by being honest with the people of our state, being honest with the citizens, and telling them that where it is underfunded, we have to do better to make sure that lives are improved.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Thanks for everybody attending, and thanks to our friends at the press. Thanks very much.
I want to say something out of it. I want to apologize for holding everybody up. But I talked about the Redbird. Well, the Redbird, when I went out to my car this morning, there's no way I was going to drive over here in the city with the car looking like that. So I apologize.
Redbird revenge.